Hi, my name is Erich Ledebuhr, and I am fortunate enough to play trumpet with the Claflin Hill Symphony Orchestra. I first met Paul. He hired me to play trumpet at the Nutcracker for the Franklin School of Performing Arts, which was down the road, and I was subbing for a trumpet player, and it was fortunate for me because I was actually working in Franklin at the time, so the commute to the gig was a pretty easy one. And Paul ended up sitting right in front of me. He was not conducting, he was contracting the gig, and he was playing clarinet, and he, again, as I said, was sitting right in front of me, and I started playing. He turned around and said, "Hey, you sound pretty good." And I said, "Well, thank you." And actually from that point on, he's hired me ever since. And so I've actually been with Claflin Hill since it started. Even before it was Claflin Hill, there was a Milford concert band in town, and Paul managed that, and he hired me to play in that. And may not have been my favorite playing, but it was a fun group to play with, and it was a nice connection at the time. And Paul eventually took that over and turned it into Claflin Summer Winds and created the symphony too. And it's hard to believe it's been going for 16 years at this point. We've played a lot of different music, and that group has grown exponentially since it just started. I first got involved in music when most kids start in beginning band programs around the 5th grade, and I was fortunate to have a very good teacher, and even more fortunate that she ended up knowing a trumpet player who she ended up marrying, who ended up being my private trumpet teacher. And one of the great things about the field of music is you sometimes find that teacher who becomes more than just a teacher, becomes a mentor for you. And I was very fortunate in this case to work with a fantastic man named John Iatesta, who was just a mentor for me and continues to be a mentor for me to this day. When I decided to look at colleges, I wasn't sure whether I was ready to make the plunge to go into the music, so I looked at schools that had strong liberal arts programs and also strong music programs as well, and that's really how I started to narrow down the colleges I looked for. And I ultimately decided on Ithaca College in upstate New York, which had a very strong music program and also a very strong liberal arts program. And I went in as an undecided major my freshman year, but by the middle of my freshman year, I had decided to do 2 separate degrees there. They had what they called a 4.5-year degree. I got a degree in music performance and also in music education. And since that time, I've had very strong connections with both music performance and music education, as I'm still an educator to this day also. When you start the trumpet, they don't really tell you everything about it. They tell you it's fun to play, and everybody starts on an instrument that looks something like this. It's called the B-flat trumpet. When we make a sound on it, it sounds like a concert B-flat that you would play on a piano. And when trumpet started, originally it didn't have these valves, and when we press these valves down, it allows air to go into extra tubings, which changes the length of the instrument, which allows us to get all sorts of different notes. So now when we look at music, it will tell us a key, whether the key is C, B flat, D, E, F, and we look at the notes on the page, and unfortunately the majority of the time we don't actually get to read the notes on the page. We have to change them in our head, and for that we generally use what's called a C trumpet, which is just a little smaller than a B flat trumpet, but when I play a C on this, it sounds like a C would on a piano, so this is really a concert pitch instrument and very similar to a violin, cello, trombone. Those, when you play a C on them, it actually sounds like a C. So we use this instrument predominantly in an orchestra because it allows us to easily transpose to any key that we might have to play. You'll see also I have a slightly smaller one here, this is called a piccolo trumpet, which is much higher. There was a time period where people specialized in different sized trumpets, and there was a particular time period, certainly around Bach and Handel's time period, where it was called clarino trumpet playing. So it's extremely high. It'd be very difficult to play that high on some of these larger instruments, so we often use a piccolo trumpet for that. And you might hear this when we play something like the Messiah, and you could hear it in the Hallelujah chorus, and something like Bach's Magnificat. You would hear this instrument as well. For some reason, they tend to say trumpet players are a little self-centered and arrogant. I don't know why they would say that, but they do. So our section is fairly confident. We like to do what we do, but here's a great thing. The rest of the trumpet section, there's 3 main players to the trumpet section. The gentleman, Jeff Heffler, plays second trumpet. He and I have been playing together since 1995. in various things. And and we play in quintet together. We know each other's playings. We know each other's tendencies. We know how to support each other. It's a fantastic relationship to be able to continually do that with someone playing your own instrument, to be able to have that comfort level. I sit down with complete comfort when I play. And our third trumpet player, Kevin Donegan, who is actually from Milford, started coming to Claflin Hill as a student intern, and I ended up being able to give him some trumpet lessons when he was still in high school. He went into music, and he's a successful trumpet player at this point. He freelances in the area. He's got a successful teaching job, and it's fantastic to be able to sit and work with him as a colleague as well. And there's a lot of instances like that in Claflin Hill. I am a principal of a very unique school. The school is located on Hanscom Air Force Base, which is just outside of Boston on Route 128. So the school is for students whose parents, they live on the base, their parents are either active military or their parents work for the Department of Defense. So I have students coming and going all the time as their parents move around, supporting our great country. And these kids give a lot of sacrifice as well for their families and for us to be able to do what we do every single day. And I am blessed at my school with having a phenomenal music teacher. His name is Howard Verona, and he is like the Pied Piper. He works tirelessly. He will take anybody to play in what he calls his orchestra. And as I said, we're a small school. We've got people coming and going. We have everything from ukuleles to violins to cellos to trumpets to banjos. Whatever you have, he'll write something for you to play in that ensemble. And he also is a fantastic choral teacher. Then I was very fortunate, a few years ago, our select choir was singing one of the pieces we were playing at Claflin Hill. And I called Paul up and I said, hey, my kids are singing this, and happens to be the month of the military child. So he actually gave me a bank of tickets for our kids to come and hear the concert, which was great for me, for them to be able to see me play the trumpet, hear the orchestra, and for them also to be able to hear pieces that they were working on as well. And one better, Paul actually let me introduce them and speak to the audience about them before the second half, which was extremely special and memorable, and I know it was for those students. And I hope to think it meant a lot to the audience too, because I was able to celebrate their service to their families and to our country as well. And you know, they certainly were nicely appreciated by the audience that night, and it's something I do hope to do again in the future. When Claflin first started, I distinctly remember walking past the town hall, and there was a piece I wasn't playing on. That it was a Mozart woodwind quintet, and they were rehearsing, so I got to the rehearsal a little late. And I'm walking up to that beautiful town hall. It was in the springtime, so the windows were open, and I'm hearing this beautiful Mozart music pouring out of the town hall. And I stopped and turned and I looked and I said, I cannot believe music of this quality is happening, and we're right in the middle of Milford. And that's a testament to the town, and that the town and the local area around here has been able to support this orchestra. And this orchestra is special in a lot of ways. I've played in a lot of, you know, what I would say this level of orchestra. And there's a special feeling here. People are here because they have got a strong commitment to it. I've never seen a group of musicians give back to an ensemble, both with time and sometimes with money, to help support it, to help grow it. A lot of the players that have been in that ensemble have been playing together. You know, there's a lot of key players that have been playing since the beginning. So after 16 years of playing together, you start to learn each other and know each other's tendencies, and you're able to make much better music as you're performing. I actually appreciate every time that I have the opportunity to go in and sit in there, and I don't take that for granted. I think about every single concert that we play. Is this one of the last concerts you're going to be able to play with this group? How well will the group be able to survive? And I think Paul's made some smart decisions with the youth orchestra, with being and literally pounding the pavement to get support for the orchestra. And again, I know he works tirelessly doing that, and hopefully you build up that core where it can survive. And I have strong hopes for that.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Coet. Make sure you check out full episodes of The Milford Informer on Milford TV. New episodes air every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. and then re-air frequently over the course of the weekend. Milford TV can be found on Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 38. And if you live in the Milford area and have an idea for a news story, you can contact us at news@milfordtv.net.